He said I was too weak to be a real man. He laughed when I sat out during PE when my chest hurt too much to keep running. But years later, I made that same teacher vomit on a mountain road in front of his own students. And the best part? I didn't have to say a single word. If you've ever been underestimated, humiliated, or told you'll never measure up, this one's for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle in, because this is a story of how a weak student became a quiet storm and made karma sweat harder than any workout ever could. My name's Ethan, and I grew up in Colorado Springs, right in the shadow of the Rockies. But despite living in one of the most athletic states in America, I wasn't a sports kid. I was the one with a heart condition. I had open heart surgery when I was 7. Doctor said I'd live a normal life, as long as I avoided extreme exertion. So while other kids were running laps or throwing footballs, I was the one sitting on the sidelines, clutching my chest, trying to breathe through the pain and embarrassment. And in high school, that made me a target. Our PE teacher, Coach Daniels, was the worst kind of coach. Ex-football player, shaved head, permanent smirk. He loved the loud kidsy athletes, the muscle heads. But for kids like me, he had only one rule: mock before motivate. If you missed a catch, he'd shout across the gym, "Maybe try reading the ball next time. Einstein." If you were tired, he'd say, "Weak hearts make weak men." The class would laugh. And I'd laugh too, quietly pretending it didn't sting. But it did, every single time. He wasn't just mean. He was dangerous. One day he made my overweight friend Chris jump off a trampoline overstool during gymnastics. Chris didn't make it. He landed wrong, cracked his head on the mat. Everyone froze. Coach Daniels just said, "Get up, it's not that bad." That's when I realized this guy wasn't a teacher. He was a bully and a whistle. So I stopped trying to impress him. I'd do my laps quietly and sit down when my heart started acting up. He'd shake his head like I was some kind of disappointment to humanity. But here's what he didn't know. When class was over, I did train. Just differently. See, while he pushed kids to sprint and jump, I discovered something else: endurance. Long, steady, controlled effort. I found it one summer watching the Tour de France on TV. The long climbs, the pacing, the silence of pain turning into power. It spoke to me. So I bought an old road bike off Craigslist, fixed it up, and started riding. Not fast, not flashy, just consistent. Every morning before sunrise, up and down Falcon Ridge Hill, a climb I could ride in my sleep. I got stronger, steadier, calmer. My heart, it adapted. And every ride, I imagined Daniel's face fading behind me. Then came sports day, senior year. Coach Daniels announced we'd be doing a mountain hike on Skyline Peak, about 12 miles out of town. But then he added with that smug grin, "Anyone brave enough can bike there instead. I'll be leading that group myself." Of course, everyone laughed. No one volunteered, except me. His eyebrows shot up. You? You sure, son? It's uphill. Don't want your little ticker giving out." The class laughed. I smiled back. "I'll manage, coach." He had no idea that climb started just a mile from my driveway, that I'd done it 100 times, that I'd been preparing for this moment without even knowing it. The morning of the event, I rolled up to school in full cycling gear. Sleek helmet, gloves, racing bike. Daniels looked half amused, half insulted. He had an old mountain bike, heavy frame, thick tires, and a beer belly hiding under his tracksuit. "Let's see if you can keep up," he said. We started the first 10 kilometers, flat road. He set a fast pace. I stayed behind him, quiet, just following his wheel. He kept glancing back, waiting for me to fade. Then we hit the climb. A 12-kilometer ascent averaging 7%. My territory. I could hear his breathing change within the first kilometer, loud, uneven. By the second, his shoulders were rocking. By the third, sweat poured off his nose. I could have attacked then, left him behind. But I didn't. That would have been mercy. Instead, I started talking. "You good, coach? Don't want to embarrass yourself in front of class later." He grunted something between a growl and a cough. I increased the pace just a touch. "Come on, coach. You always told me to push through the pain, right? He was gasping now, face red as a stoplight. I kept him right at his breaking point. Fast enough to suffer, slow enough to endure it. It was the most perfect control I'd ever felt. All those years of humiliation condensed into one long, steady climb. At the final turn, I stood up and sprinted, left him gasping in the dust. When I reached the summit, I unclipped my helmet, breathing calm and steady. A few classmates who'd taken the bus were already there. Then, a few minutes later, Coach Daniels appeared, barely pedaling, his legs wobbling. He stopped just past the parking lot, stumbled off the bike, and vomited right there in front of the students. The silence was golden. Then one kid whispered, "Guess the coach met his match." No laughter, no applause, just a perfect, quiet justice of karma. He sat down beside me, red-faced, humiliated. I handed him a bottle of water. Didn't say a word. Didn't need to. After that day, Daniels never mocked me again. In fact, he barely spoke to me. Sometimes silence is the loudest apology you'll ever get. That climb taught me something. Revenge isn't always about destroying someone. Sometimes it's just about proving to them and to yourself that you were never weak. You were just saving your strength for the right moment. If this story gave you goosebumps, hit that like button. Tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying moment when someone finally got what they deserved? And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories of quiet revenge, justice, and redemption. Because sometimes the sweetest victory doesn't need a cheer, just the sound of your rival gasping for breath behind you.